A young lady anxiously arranges her belongings. She halts at the telephone momentarily. Then, as though resolving, she resumes her packing. Nearing the doorway, she stares off into the void for an extended period. Finally, with determination, she sets her keys on the ledge and departs. Her vehicle hastens along the highway. Her focus on the road is interrupted by a colleague's inquiry about the deadline for her assigned task. Kate is significantly irritated. She has dedicated nearly half a decade to this endeavor, consistently propelling it forward and generating revenue for the firm. As always, she will fulfill her duties punctually, rendering the incessant calls unnecessary. After sharing her thoughts, she resolutely switches off her mobile and grasps for her mug of coffee. Yet, it tumbles from its cradle and drops. Kate stoops to retrieve it. Abruptly, she comes to on the soil amidst a fall woodland. Her visage and palms are scraped, and her torso aches fiercely, yet she recalls nothing of the incident or her arrival there. Mustering her vigor, she rises and surveys the surroundings. The woods are filled with the hues of fall, shrouded in fog, and chilly. Abruptly, a sound from the rear prompts her to whirl, and she spots a figure clad in armor and a respirator hiding his visage. Without a word, he lifts his firearm and fires at her. Kate's eyes flick open on the forest floor in the identical glade, catching the echo of her attacker's footsteps. The individual nears, aims his gun at her, but Kate persuasively feigns death. The killer departs and Kate gets up once again. However, at that moment she is struck anew by a second man clad alike, who confirms they anticipated her arrival and awaited with zeal. She tumbles to the earth again. Her assailants draw close. One stoops to verify her vitality. Then Kate seizes a handgun from his belt and fires at him, yet the accomplice swiftly seizes her neck. The lady fights fiercely and endures a hit to her countenance. Her vision becomes hazy, yet she discerns the sound of the man readying his firearm and pointing it at her. Kate musters the courage to sit upright and confront her attacker as the gunshot echoes. Abruptly, her rescuer emerges, a man who implores her to exit swiftly due to the peril. She trails him, attempting to pose questions, but he presses on, mentioning a sanctuary close by for respite. He too is clueless about this locale. He came to consciousness here, oblivious to his arrival or the preceding events. Discovering a locket and a lady's portrait in his pocket, he advises Kate to inspect her own. She locates a photograph, yet as she scrutinizes it, a piercing sound engulfs her mind, prompting her to shut her eyes. The gentleman urges her to keep her eyes open, warning that shutting them would exacerbate the situation. As the discomfort subsides, Kate glimpses a photograph of a man embracing her and a young child. Inscribed on the reverse are the names Sophie and Peter. Abruptly, a memory surges. She's in the kitchen, and the man addresses her as Kate. She is elated, recalling him. Her savior reveals his name as Baba, yet his own identity eludes him. Just then, a trio of men garbed like the soldiers converge on the glade strewn with the deceased. Inspecting the cadavers, their leader deduces that Kate isn't alone. The radio crackles with news of additional escapees seized. He triggers a projection of his chief, who emphasizes that seizing Kate is crucial. Her recollection will soon resurface, and she will uncover her quest. Subsequently, this realm might vanish, along with them. Thus, the leader must expedite. Concurrently, Baba and Kate locate a tranquil area in the woods to repose. The gentleman offers his flask and presents Kate with a medical kit for her to tend to her wounds. The lady interrogates her ally regarding their whereabouts and the ongoing events, yet he is equally perplexed. He is certain of one aspect, though time here is static, which Kate confirms with her timepiece. She theorizes they could be participants in a trial, a notion Baba doesn't reject. He cherishes his spouse immensely, yet her whereabouts or involvement in the current events are unknown to him. Nonetheless, the photographs in their pockets didn't appear coincidentally. Kate's head throbs once more, and her recollections reveal an altercation with her spouse, a roadway, a toppled coffee container, and a vehicle ahead, before abruptly halting. Kate deduces she was involved in a collision. Suddenly, Baba too recalls a wrecked automobile enveloped in smoke, and he is aware of its location. Kate is resolute in her search for it, while Baba prefers to scout the vicinity first. He provides her with a firearm and indicates the direction of the observed automobile. Concurring to reconvene at this spot after a few hours, they separate. Kate meanders through the woods and stumbles upon a furnished guard post. She rummages through it. In a compartment, she discovers a canteen of water and a mobile phone, yet her efforts to reach out are futile. She settles down, scrutinizes the device, and abruptly recognizes the images and footage in the gallery as her kin's. Memories flood back of the young girl she ambled with in the park, enveloped in sheer joy. In a recording, her dad implores her to reconcile familial ties, citing her spouse's profound affection and concern for her. All of a sudden, Kate detects footsteps and espies an individual clad in formal attire, but she adeptly conceals herself before he spots her, inadvertently leaving the mobile exposed. As the man is taken aback by the discovery, Kate fires at him. She claims his armor and ammunition. Disguised as a soldier, she quickly arrives at a space where she observes the slaying of 4 non-combatants by a troop of insurgents. Subsequently, the chief reports to the superior, who sanctions the elimination of the escapees, yet emphasizes the necessity to locate the lady. Should her recollection resurface, it spells trouble for them. In the meantime, Kate departs from the site of the killings and abruptly encounters an unseen barrier, inflicting agony on anyone attempting to exit the woodland. Internally, Kate contemplates whether this boundary signifies the world's end and if humanity is part of an undisclosed trial. She attempts to bypass the obstruction but soon grasps that passage is impossible. Settling beneath a tree, she can't suppress her turmoil. She's anguished and bewildered. Why has this befallen her? Her temples pound anew, and glimpses of yesteryears flicker past. Then, distinctly, she hears a voice beseeching her to awaken. Rising, Kate strides off in a fresh direction, inadvertently leaving behind the familial snapshot. The militants, arriving on the scene, discover it and deduce her path. Kate arrives at a partially demolished abode. Yet, an airborne drone impedes her path. Biding its departure, Kate makes her way into the edifice. She traverses a lengthy hallway, inspects each chamber, and ascends to the upper level. Out of nowhere, Baba materializes and swiftly eliminates a combatant behind her. Yet an adversary from the opposite side wounds Baba, leading to his demise by Kate's side. She attempts aid, but he insists she depart. An egress is within reach, and she can escape this realm, which remains out of his grasp. Kate bids farewell and advances. She neutralizes several adversaries and continues onward. The commander, upon noticing the locket with a woman's image on Baba's torso, concedes his privilege to perish honorably. Concurrently, Kate's ears catch the sound of her spouse's voice summoning her. Then, almost instantly, she discerns a lady's voice detailing how, across the annals of medical science, humanity has observed astounding wonders. Now, owing to Dr. Jane Dunning, hailed as the pioneer of surgery, they're on the verge of venturing into the uncharted. For a decade, her squad has toiled on the ECHO initiative, enabling patients in comas to access alternate realms. The patient experiences life, notwithstanding their body's dormancy. Kate realizes that the doctor is relaying all this via a computer in one of the vacant chambers. Her comprehension of the events begins to crystallize. She envisions her kin, her spouse, and offspring once more. Abruptly, she recalls the dispute stemmed from her constant absence due to work, leaving scant time for her daughter. The child felt isolated and even crafted a drawing for her birthday depicting her mother's return. Peter grasps her dedication to her career, yet he knows kinship holds greater value. Kate's memory clarifies her venture, a graphic novel featuring gorillas. Her sketches of figures in disguise and their chieftain's portrait come to mind. While preparing for a work journey, she observes her spouse and child in the cookery, contemplates them deeply, then positions her keys on the rack and exits. Next, the thoroughfare, the toppled mug, and the vehicle ahead. Subsequently, as if from an elevated vantage, she beholds a grave mishap where a car attempting a U-turn stalls and another collides into it with full force. Paramedics later arrive. 4 individuals, mirroring those the guerrillas executed in the glen, perish instantly, and they extricate her from the wreckage. Even though she is in coma, she remains among the living. The medical team revived her thrice. These instances coincided with her regaining consciousness amidst the militants' gunfire. She watches as paramedics load her body into an ambulance and whisk it away from the crash site. Similarly, a motorcyclist, who skidded on the leaked fuel, lies in a coma as well. In the dwelling, Kate detects the sound of firearms being readied, and upon looking back, she spots her chasers. The leader concedes the complexity of their predicament. Her survival is essential for their own. Meanwhile, in the hospital, her spouse, who has been steadfastly by her side, observes her life signs starting to fluctuate alarmingly. Her child clasps her hand, and Kate's finger twitches faintly. In the dreamlike realm, the soldiers unleash a barrage. Yet, Kate is unscathed by the gunfire. With serenity, she returns fire with her handgun and departs. Emerging outside, she beholds the familiar foggy woods, but now a fragile bridge lies ahead, and crossing it, she vanishes into the ether. Years on, Kate resides in a remote dwelling on the city's outskirts, surrounded by vintage treasures. One day, as she cleans the kitchenware, she browses through sketches of the misty woods that stir a vague memory. Peter enters and instantly perceives a change in his wife. She bombards him with inquiries, struck by the epiphany that her existence seems to be looping. The routine persists, devoid of fresh occurrences. What transpired with her? Peter concedes he was forewarned of such an outcome. This marks the tertiary stage of Dr. Baba's overseen experiment. Post-recovery from the mishap, he elected to collaborate with Kate. Presently, he's achieved remarkable strides, having witnessed her in the comatose state. They devised a virtual realm for Peter's visits. This entire scenario spanned 21 years. Sophie matured, and they now have a grandchild. Kate expresses gratitude to Baba for his efforts and pleads for release. Peter departs the virtuality. Kate strides towards the daylight and fades as her spouse deactivates the life-sustaining apparatus. Don't forget to subscribe and enable notifications to catch more videos like this. Thank you for watching.